What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota and welcome back to Colognes. Today we're going to be looking at and reviewing the new Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Stravaganza. And if you agree that that name is too long too, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show off the atomizer here, as we like to do. For the smaller bottle, pretty decent atomizer. This is the 50 ml bottle that I have here. So I'll go ahead and put a couple there on the wrist. And when this first gets into the air, it's very light, it's very refreshing. It's got a little bit of a green twist to it. This is supposed to be like a fresh green coffee style of fragrance. Unfortunately, I don't get much coffee out of this whenever it first kind of gets going in the air. But I will say though, this has a very nice lightness to it. It has a very nice aromatic feel to it. It's nice, it's springy, it's refreshing. There's nothing harsh about this at all. It's very smooth. And it's not anything that the opening will kind of blow you away. It's nice, it's pleasant. It's a very pleasant smell. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this bottle spinning up. We'll get into the note breakdown and I'll see y'all here in a second. Alrighty, as we get this bottle spinning up, the note breakdown on this is very short. So the top note on this is gonna be Calabrian bergamot. Hopefully I said that word right. And the bergamot on this, when you first spray it, you do get a good citrusness from it, but you're not for sure exactly what it is. To me, I would have thought this leaned a little more lime than bergamot. The middle note on this is going to be coffee. Now the middle note when you first spray it is pretty much non-existent, but it takes no time at all for some of that coffee note to pull through and really start to shine as a beautifully blended fragrance. And the base note on this is going to be vetiver. Now the vetiver on this, it's not a harsh vetiver. It's not like that real earthy, real grassy. It's very soft, it's very subtle. The blend on this is done very well for a vetiver style fragrance, but that is gonna get this portion of it wrapped up. Let me get y'all flip back around, we'll get back into it. Alrighty, and it's been about 30 minutes on this. This does seem to dry down pretty much all the way to the bottom very quickly. This doesn't have a whole lot of change to it. There's not a whole lot really going on in here. It is more linear than some of their other ones. But whenever it does start to dry down, the coffee note that's in the mid does start to pick up beautifully. It does, for a coffee note, it doesn't turn into something that's harsh or overly bitter. It's subtle, but good. So if you're not someone who loves coffee notes, but you still like the green nature that this can do, you could very easily wear this. This is gonna be, I would say, mostly mass appealing. This isn't gonna be anything that's gonna blow people away, but at the same time, you're probably not gonna have anything that smells just like this. You might have 4 or 5 things that smells kind of like it, but that's kind of what a lot of fragrances are doing these days. You don't want a bunch of stuff that smells the same. You do want stuff that's a little bit different. And the one thing that I will kind of notice, that I will kind of take back on this one that's different, is for this being a vetiver based fragrance, this doesn't have like that harsh earthiness to it on the dry down. With all that vetiver and coffee, it still stays light, it still stays airy, it still stays kind of citrusy a little bit on the base. I've got a couple of vetiver fragrances in my collection that are just way overly harsh and way too earthy, and you just don't get that from this. So when I would wear this this release was perfectly timed in my book. This is gonna be a spring, go ahead and show off this a little bit. This is gonna be a spring fragrance for me for sure. Because there's something about this that whenever everything goes in bloom, everything starts coming back, everything starts getting green again. I feel like that's when this fragrance is gonna shine the most. You know, you've been cooped up all winter, you got all the windows open in the house, everything's getting light and airy, so I think that's when this one is gonna shine. So we'll get into the price and availability on this. Availability wise, it should be making its ways to a lot of the big box stores. Discounter wise, I haven't seen this on any discounters yet. It might be a little bit before this one gets to discounters. Valentinos are just a little bit slow getting to those sometimes. This is a 50 ml bottle. The 50 ml at the big box store cost, I think it was $94. So not too bad, but unfortunately I will say though that unless this is just a fragrance that you have to get your hands on, I do think 94 bucks for 50 mils is a little steep. Now 94 for 100, yeah, you could probably, there's more justification there. But 94 for a 50, I don't know that it's quite there. It is good, this is nice, this is it's pleasant, it's just nice. Like it's not something that's gonna be amazing, but it's just something that it's light, airy, refreshing, got a little coffee note in there. There's a little bit of bitterness to it that's still smooth. So now we're gonna get into the performance side of this. So this is an eau de toilette concentration. And for an EDT, this does okay. I get about 5 hours on my skin. That's not anything that's gonna blow you away, but for no toilette, that's not that bad. This is gonna be one of those not going out for a long time, probably gonna have to refresh a little bit to try to mix in some of that. And I haven't refreshed this on itself to kind of see what this does yet. The projection on this is actually where this one tends to shine. The projection on this is actually very good. It's in that 2 to 3 foot range. The sillage is just okay. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of stuff in here that's gonna be kind of get that overwhelmingness that'll kind of want to push and flow. It won't smell up a room, but you'll leave a small little trail wherever you go. But yeah, if I had to give this a rating right now, I would give this, I'm gonna say an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. And it's kind of hard to dock this a whole lot. What's great about it is also what kind of hurts it a little bit in the long run. This isn't anything that's super unique. This doesn't have some crazy monstrous performance just gonna blow everybody's minds. It does have a little bit of a mass appeal vibe to it just for how fresh and springy kind of green it is. I think this was a solid release. Now, I don't think this was worth some of the hype that it was being pushed with, only because for how much hype that was kind of starting to get brewed up around this, I kind of thought that maybe this would be something a little bit different, maybe a little edgier. But, you know, all in all, this is still, to me, this is still a solid release. It's a solid fragrance. Can't really complain about it too much. It's nice, but it's not something that'll just kind of blow you away. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it about an 8, 8.5 out of 10, somewhere in there. I'm gonna go ahead and get it on this bottle one more time, but I do think that is going to get us wrapped up for today. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for subscribing, for sticking around, for the feedback, everything. I truly appreciate that. And if anybody needs to get in contact with me for any reason, like requests, questions, anything like that, my email is linked down in the description below, as well as this fragrance. So there should be a link there that'll take you directly on where you can find this at or find more information about it. So that is going to get us wrapped up. As always, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.